Hello and welcome to what was Hard Rock Park. All that stuff you just saw, we're going to go into that building in just a minute and check it out. But before we go into what was a dark ride building for Hard Rock Park and a mall several decades ago, we're going to look at this site here that is immediately adjacent to the old Hard Rock building. This is the remnants of the old movie theater for Waccamaw Pottery. So this ground right here was traversed by moviegoers getting their popcorn, watching their films. I personally did not attend this movie theater. It was closed down prior to my enjoyment of this area. So no nostalgia for me, but if any of you viewers remember it, let me know. I'm curious. There's a lot here in this rubble, pieces of chairs, signage, even the slope downward into the movie theater, stadium seating slopes toward the screen. You can see it. It's a very interesting remnant of the past that probably won't be around too much longer. Now, the real reason we're here is not for the movie theater. It's for the Hard Rock Park / Waccamaw Pottery Mall building, which is just on the other side of this leaky swamp thing looking mess in the rubble here. That building right over there. This was Waccamaw Pottery's, one of Waccamaw Pottery's malls. So when we go inside, you're going to see a lot of store frontages that appear to be mall shops, because that's what they were. Other parts of the building were used for the theme parks. But before we get into there, I'm just going to, plug what I already have on the channel in case you're interested in the theme park. I have a complete abandoned tour of the park when the buildings were all still standing. I'm going to get to that later. So you can see the entire Hard Rock Park before it was completely demolished. Also have a couple then and now videos depicting what it looks like today versus what it looked like as a park. Since we're talking Hard Rock, hey, we had a Hard Rock cafe in town that was demoed, so I'm going to plug that one too. But that's enough of that. Let's go toward the building. Around the site of the building, there's a lot of these little frisbees, these soft frisbees. There was a section of the theme park called, I want to say it was called Endless Summer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume that was one of the souvenirs you could purchase from their specific gift shop. Now these frisbees were all over the place. We'll see a few more of them by the time this video is over. In that direction was the actual theme park. You can see that the rides are gone. So this building is the building that we're talking about today, and we will be entering from the southeast entry point right there. So this building had several iterations. When it was Hard Rock Park, it had a Knights in White Satin, The Trip ride. When it was Freestyle Music Park, it had Monsters of Rock, the dark ride, and it also had a pretty cool ball pit / arcade. That ball pit's probably the most memorable thing for me from Hard Rock Park. Very strange to say that, but it's true. You can see the old truck well in order to, load stuff into the building. It's just full of water. It's terrible. There's probably Swamp Thing living in there. And there's one of those frisbees I mentioned earlier. As you can see, wide open. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the fact that this building no longer exists. None of the buildings at Hard Rock Park exist anymore. They are gone. They have recently been demolished. So the video you're seeing now, oh, here you go. There's what the mall looked like before in the Waccamaw Pottery malls. This video is actually about 1.5 years old, and I held it back because when I toured the park, when it was abandoned, there was still security on the premises. You couldn't get in the park, and you couldn't, have nefarious shenanigans with all these buildings and things. Since then, no security, it's wide open. There have been all sorts of vandals and mischievous people running amok on the property, so I didn't want to post this footage and just bring to attention the status of the building. I didn't want to attract any more attention to it. Now that the building's gone, why not share it with all of you? So this portion of the building is it still retains the mall aesthetic. Obviously, storefronts, the hallway in the middle, a very creepy vibe. As we continue down the hallway, you're going to see there's a little bit of a transition. As I alluded to, there was a dark ride, 2 different iterations of a dark ride in this building. And there was a large arcade and a ball pit, or a ball shooting arena. This here are straws from their souvenir cups. I still have my souvenir cup and one of those straws at home. Pieces of the ceiling were actively swaying and falling while I was there this day. So, not a safe location to be. Like I said, didn't want to draw any more attention to it than I needed to. Some portions of the building appeared to be more finished, refined than others. I assume, I didn't work in the theme park, but I assume some of this space was utilized for administrative staff, storage. I'm sure it went to good use in some form or fashion. As we pan across here, you're going to see some of the space that was used for the dark ride and the arcade. There's some aesthetics built into the wall, some faux doors and faux windows and some painting that is still existent. Here you go, right here. And off in the distance is one of their wall decors for the arcade, like a Space Invader style that they had in the, I believe it was called the Pinball Wizard Arcade, Hard Rock Park, get it? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you remember the name of the arcade, let me know. You're going to see that I'm actually turning around and going in the other direction. I'll be honest with you, a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on in there, a lot of things swinging around. It's hard to tell the difference between a piece of debris slamming against a wall and someone, shuffling around. And I don't feel like running into anybody in a location like this, to be honest with you. So I decided to turn around and head the other way. So as I mentioned earlier, this building is gone. All the buildings are gone. Everything that was related to Hard Rock Theme Park and Freestyle Music Park no longer exists. It is gone. So this is kind of this will be the last hurrah, the last farewell to Hard Rock Park. I've covered it a lot over the years, different types of videos, abandoned videos, then and now, history videos, stuff like that, but no more, since it no longer exists. So whatever they decide to build on this massive piece of land, we'll cover that when the time comes. For now, it's sad to see things like this. An old Frisbee, busted up. The last lingering remnants of the one and only Hard Rock Park. So now it is gone, forever lost to the ether.